How's everyone enjoying their Tales of the Cocktail so far? Awesome. Excellent. My name's Colin Asare-Appiah. Clap. Come on.
Caught me by surprise. You are.
Welcome to the first of many, hopefully, of Letters to Young Bartenders seminar. We spoke with Anne about 4 or 5 months ago about conducting a seminar such as this. It's based on a book which was written by a scientist called Edward Wilson. And he was a biologist, and the book is made up of 21 letters that basically just passed on all the information and the passions and trials and tribulations of his life within the scientific world. And I thought to myself, what a great idea to throw a seminar such as this at Tales, because mentorship is the cornerstone of everything that we do within this business. And a seminar such as this, I think, is really important. To be able to hear from your peers, who are right here, who I'll introduce you to in a moment. They're superb, just so you know. Rock stars. No, just to be able to hear from them, I think is something really, really important. Because we're all here at Tales, we all want to learn, we all want to go away with some amazing memories. And something I always used to notice when I used to come here was, you'd meet these amazing people. You'd meet your Julie Reiners. Your Jackson Cannons. Your Derek Browns. And last but not least, Mr. Hospitality, Joshua Wagner. You'd see them, but you'd never get the opportunity to speak to them because they're always surrounded by a lot of people, very much like moths to a flame. We see all the icons walking around Tales of the Cocktail. Simon Falls is the worst one. Julie actually managed to kidnap him for how long?
22 minutes.
22 minutes. See, she counted as well. See, that's pretty epic. I've actually seen him 5 times and only spoken to him twice. You know what I mean? For 2 minutes at a time. But such stuff. But I always thought that was really important to just get some information from all the peers up here about things that really helped cultivate and shaped their careers. This is an opportunity for all of you to hear some of the things that happened to them, the mentors that they had when they were growing up that actually gave them some key learnings that they've taken on to be where they are today. I, for one, started a few years ago. I like to say BC, before Cranberry, when all cocktails were red, blue, yellow, pink, and actually grew up within the industry with some really amazing mentors. I was really lucky at the time. Unfortunately, we didn't have Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, even though we do have a hashtag up there, Letters to a Young Bartender Today, that you can use. Feel free to please Twitter it, Facebook it. Also, don't forget at TOTC for today. Make sure that you Twitter about where you are now. And if you hear anything that you really like, please use it. Now, I didn't actually have any social media when I was growing up. You actually had to speak to people. Yeah? If you wanted to speak to someone, you went and found them and you saw them face to face. We got the opportunity today. At the end of our letters that we're all going to read out to you, we're all going to have the opportunity to actually speak to our panelists one-on-one, which is great, right? Yeah? Of course. What we're going to do is we're going to, of course, serve you all cocktails. You like that? Yeah? Round of applause to the sponsors, please, for today. Bacardi, Bombay Sapphire, Cazadores, Noilly, Pratt, and, of course, Martini. Thank you. Of course, Jackson Cannon his cocktail is going to be the Adonis for today because he is an Adonis. Isn't that right, Jackson?
Whatever you say. It's your world.
Yeah, thank you. Derek Brown is a little bittersweet. His is going to be the daiquiri. We love the classic daiquiri with Bacardi heritage. And Julie is going to serve us a Clover Club with her special syrup. Of course, I'm going to be serving you the El Presidente. Yeah. And I'm not going to tell you what Josh Wagner is going to be serving you. We're going to wait for that. That's a little surprise. All right, Josh?
Yes, sir.
Yes, excellent. Now, I'd like to introduce you to my panelists. I'll start with Julie. As you can see from that lovely picture, when was that picture taken, Julie?
1997.
Wow. You still look great. Doesn't she look great? Yeah? Was that the first bar that you ever worked in?
It wasn't the first bar I ever worked in. It was the first bar managing job I had when I moved to New York City.
Right.
There was a naked Lampica behind me. It was
Yeah, I know. That's why I actually picked that
I knew
picture.
you would enjoy that photo.
You look wasted.
There's a picture in the middle of a very choir boy looking Jackson Cannon. Jackson, can you tell me about that,
Well,
please?
I thought you
Sorry.
asked for baby pictures, but that's...
No, I didn't.
That's before the conventional bar business. That's when I used to buy candy at the grocery store for a dime and sell it for a quarter at recess. So I actually called it the candy bar.
Lovely.
And yeah, it was my first job in the industry, as it were. So.
Now, tell me, where are you working now? Where are you now?
I live in Boston and operate 3 bars, Eastern Standard, Island Creek Oyster Bar, and the Hawthorne.
Nice. Come on. What he's failed to tell you is, what both of these panelists failed to tell you were they actually work and operate, and congratulations, award-winning Tales of the Cocktail bars. Yeah? They won awards over the last few years. Now, Derek Brown. Brown. Derek, please, just a little bit about yourself, because a lot of these people have heard of you, but have never had the opportunity to hear about you personally.
Well, I don't remember when that picture was taken in terms of the year, but I do remember the time of night. I think it was about 6 a.m. after a shift, so that explains the behavior. So I'm in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Some people from D.C. here, good. And I have a couple bars there. I have 5 bars. The Passenger, Columbia Room, Mockingbird Hill, Eat the Rich, and Southern Efficiency. We welcome you to come join us at some point in D.C.
Yeah, we will. Definitely. Thank you. They're great bars as well. And for those of you who don't know, my name's Colin Asare-Appiah. And I work for Bacardi Brands. I started off in the industry, as I said, BC, and I started actually in Greece as a barback. And my letter that I'm going to read out to all of you today comes from a barback's perspective. And when I first started out, it was a very much of a different kind of scene to what we have now. I wish we had a Tales of the Cocktail when I was growing up in the industry. It's not fair. What was happening when I was growing up, it's not fair. But then I moved to London from Greece, and I was lucky enough to work with some amazing pioneers, people like Angus Winchester, Simon Ford, Nick Peters, Nick Blacknell, and we tried to help shape the cocktail industry. Douglas Anker, of course, being one of them, the man who we did a celebrated party to last year. We opened a company called The Lab, which is the London Academy of Bartending. We train people, we train the general public, worked with drinks companies, shared our enthusiasm and our passion, and I went on and did many different things in the industry, and I'm now here based in New York and working with Bacardi Brands, and it's great. Thank you all very much. Wagner. He's from Miami. Yeah. That is great.
I'm here to get involved, Colin.
Yeah, you're getting involved. Good. Hashtag get involved. Don't forget that. All right.
I am not a bartender. Never have been beyond ABC bartending school certificate that I bartended for 2 months as a 22-year-old kid. I'm from originally New York City. I was a promoter. I threw parties for kids in New York City, and went to school in the Midwest and started my own production entertainment company in college. And once I graduated, I said I want to cut checks and not just receive them, so I want to learn the other side of the business. So for me, this business is 360 degrees, and we're responsible for everything, not just the drinks that we put out and the environments that they're in, but all of the places that we can do that. So for me, I proudly sit here. I can stand in a moment, but I'm not a bartender. I love bartenders, and I support them and do everything I can for them. But it's knowing the time and place in our business to have all the people involved that we need to have to make our business be successful. So to sit with these people is intimidating to me because I respect the fuck out of them, and they're remarkable. But they'll all tell you, which I think you'll all hear, is that it takes a lot more than just pouring a drink into a glass. So great to be here. Thank you for having me, Colin.
Thank you for being here. Eloquently said, sir. Eloquently said. So I'd like to start by inviting the first panelist to come up and read their letter to you. The letters that we're all going to read to you today, some are going to be available for you as you leave, but they're all going to be available on SlideShare. And we're actually going to start a Facebook page where we're going to be asking industry peers to write letters on that site. So when it goes up, of course, as social media always works best through Steve Schneider. I'll be sending it to Steve Schneider first, and the rest of the world will know about it. I'm glad he isn't here. If any of you don't know him, you should. So I'd like to invite Derek up first. We're going to read our letters monologue style, because that's how I envisaged it at the beginning, and I think it's the best way to do it. All the questions and answers we're going to have plenty of time for Q&A after we've read all our letters out, if that's all right. The first cocktail that you have, of course, is Bacardi Heritage Daiquiri, Bacardi Lime Sugar. Is that right? Yes, that's right. Thank you, Scott. Scott's the cocktail champion over there. He's making sure that all the cocktails are coming out. Thank you. We want to make sure you're lubricated. All right? Okay, Derek, please. Thank you, sir. Go on. Derek Brown.
Listen, I felt a little bit bamboozled when I was invited to this seminar because I actually thought it was letters from a young bartender. And when I realized it's letters to a young bartender, I realized I'm old. So I'm going to be in 2 months 40 years old. Wow. Maybe. But actually, in the last year, I've opened 3 bars. And I think it's kind of like each bar is like dog years. So that adds an extra 21 years right off the bat, right? I think you'll learn more about that when Julie gets up. No, not the age, the opening bars part. Jeez, no, come on. Oh, geez. Oh my God. All right, so thank you very much. This is really nice.
What a disaster.
Disaster. All right, the rest of it could very well be disaster too. How do you like the daiquiri? That's good. Yeah, the daiquiri. First brought to the United States in 1909 to Washington, D.C. So I'm proud of that fact. So I was born in Washington, D.C. You've heard that quite a bit. I love the city very much. I believe that it's one of the coolest cities in the world. And there's a very particular reason why I believe that. It's because when I was growing up, we had these amazing punk bands, these punk rock bands that you can go check out. They come from Washington, D.C., everything from Minor Threat to the Bad Brains to Fugazi, and they really, truly inspired me when I was young. When I was about 14 years old, I found them, and it really changed my life. And I go to these shows, right? And there were 16-year-old kids who were not just playing at the shows, they were the ones putting on the shows. They were the one booking them. They were doing magazines, which we called zines back then, about the shows. That was our social media, I guess. And we would Xerox these zines. It was really crazy technology. Xerox, yeah. Yeah. And they'd have these like funk shows at night, right? Which in DC it's called go-go. It's a particular kind of music that combines African rhythms with funk music, invented by a guy named Chuck Brown. It's amazing stuff. But in the day, we'd take over with these matinees, right? These punk rock matinees. A bunch of kids would do it. We never thought that this would become a movement or that these bands would become famous. For us, we just listened to this kind of ideal. This idea was DIY, do it yourself, right? We didn't want to wait for anyone else. So when I started bartending, I never really thought about the fact that we didn't have cocktail spoons behind the bars. And I don't mean that it wasn't like available. Obviously cocktail spoons existed, but they weren't a de facto piece of equipment. So the first time that I heard about stirring a cocktail, I started bartending and then I heard about stirring a cocktail. I actually went in the kitchen and got an iced tea spoon, like a long spoon, right? And I kind of like crooked my hand inward and stirred with my elbow, right? This sort of chicken wing movement. It was really odd, but it was like a little better than something I call swishling, right? Which is where you pour all the ingredients into the tin shaker, and then you just kind of swishel it around, right? Swishing it. Yeah, oh, okay. Swishing technique. You thought you weren't going to learn anything today? There you go. You learn how to swish. But they both look stupid, honestly, and I didn't know better at the time. And the crafted cocktail, the joy of mixology, it didn't exist yet in the bar program. The beverage alcohol resource, which I later took and loved, didn't exist. And I hadn't heard of Jerry Thomas or David Embry. Blogs were a thing. Then they existed, but I didn't know about them. Blogs were a thing, but few existed that gave you real, tangible advice, right? And the first time I stumbled on one, it was Robert Hess's drinkboy.com, which I found a few years into bartending. And when I found that, it was an amazing revelation, right? It was like electric. All of a sudden, I was like, oh, there's all this information to learn. There's so many things that I had no idea about. So the initial intro to bartending was really just vodka, soda, Jack and Coke, and sometimes a kamikaze or something like that. But yeah, actually, we did a lot of kamikazes. But, you know, all of a sudden I learned something, and I wanted to learn more and more. So Robert discussed things on his blog like orange bitters in a martini. And this is like an amazing revelation to me. And that got me going. I wanted to learn, and I didn't know what bitters were, let alone orange bitters. We had a bottle of Angostura bitters that had like the sleeve was coated in a stain from the caramel that had been sitting there for like 20 years. And so I started trying to use those in martini. Well, it wasn't my favorite. I started calling around to liquor stores to try to find orange bitters, and I couldn't. So one of my servers that I worked with had this sour orange tray. So we just took the oranges, we dried them out, and we made orange bitters. It was that simple. And my managers thought I was an idiot. And I guess I was a little bit half crazed, but I was also determined. Whatever you're one day going to do well, I think you always start out in these fits and starts, kind of like dancing, right? And you gotta have to ignore the fact that people are watching, because you just have to practice and learn, and that's the essential part of it. Regardless of what kind of stargazing it was, at that point in time, I asked myself, who is the best bartender in the world? And I hadn't met, you know, the people who had become my mentors or my idols, the people who are actually sitting at this table today. I didn't know them yet. But I thought somebody in the world is the best bartender, and I don't know why that can't be me. And so I set on this path, and I wanted to learn everything I could. And of all the things that make a good bartender, not a great bartender, but just a good bartender, I've now determined that is the sole requisite besides having two arms. And to be honest with you, I think the two arms is up for debate. You have to want to be a good bartender. That is the first step. And I'm sure, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
But that's not really my advice today, because ultimately if you're here at a seminar called Letters to a Young Bartender, at Tales of the Cocktail, you probably do want to be a good, if not great, bartender. So here's the real advice. Take a chance. Bartenders are not a shy race of people. Should you be thwarted easily, you will fail. You have to have a little chutzpah. What bartending taught me more than anything is confidence. So be confident in what you're doing. 2 is that you have to learn every single day. That's easy to do at Tales of Cocktail, but think about it for the rest of the year. Customers are relentless in their questions, and you can fake it a little bit. I'm sure we all have, but at some point you have to put in the work, okay? And that's what makes you, in the end, a better bartender. And honestly, what Muhammad Ali said was, it's not bragging if you can back it up. Be your own idol. Rather than wait for the cocktail movement to happen and its rewards and recognition, and those are great to get, or somebody to bless your work, many of the people here either became the leaders or foot soldiers in the movement, right? They didn't wait for somebody. They did it themselves. And that's the most important piece of advice, ultimately, is that you have to do it yourself. Just like the sort of punk rock kids that I grew up with, they didn't wait for anybody. Those bands became legends, and I see that in the same people who started this movement. That we didn't have spoons or books or blogs is not me telling you I walked in a mile story. I walked a mile in the snow story. The point is that people started this. The kids made a difference, and they revived a craft that had languished for over a century. Think about that. Craft bartending was almost dead, and that they brought it back. That's amazing. And I admit that it kind of looked and felt a little awkward at first, with the hats and the suspenders and the speakeasies. I kind of cringe at that word. But it grew into something greater, and it grows because of you. But with that said, there is one rule, right? And this was set down by a Chilean writer talking to young poets. And he wrote, "Write as you will, in whatever style you like. Too much blood has run under the bridge to go on believing that only one road is right. In poetry, everything is permitted. With only this condition, of course. You have to improve the blank page." And you can switch poets for bartenders or blood for bitters and page for glass, but the sentiment is still correct. You can do anything you want. You don't even have to listen to me. Ultimately, I don't really bartend anymore. It's your turn. What you do next will determine whether the efforts of those who came before you were in vain or not, whether what has been achieved will grow or languish in the next 100 years. We will try to aid you and help you, but youth has an advantage that old age that we don't. And that's that no one is as excited as a person starting on his or her journey, right? That's the sort of rule of increments. You're going to learn more than we ever have, hopefully. And it's your turn. So take a chance, be confident, soak up everything you can. Don't wait for anyone to bless your work. It's your turn. It's your time to advance the discourse on craft bartending and the practice, even if it starts awkwardly with the chicken wing stirring, stupid hats, that sort of thing. Most importantly, like those punk bands that made my city so cool, and I think it still is, by the way, don't rely on anyone else. We'll try to help you if we can, but ultimately, it's up to you, so do it yourself. That's it.
Fantastic. I'd like you to all raise your glasses, your daiquiris actually, for a Bacardi daiquiri timeout for Mr. Derek Brown for that letter. Cheers. Cheers. Awesome. See, what I've always said about Derek is he's a bit of a baby-faced assassin. Yeah? He's my ultimate bartender rock star. I love the attitude of DIY. I think it's something that we should all adopt. And it's something that I've seen in some bartenders that I've come across. I loved your piece about improvising with your bar tools. It's something that I think as a young bartender you should learn at a very, very young age. And also, because it's something that it will happen in a bar. You know, you won't have that specific tool, right? It's happened to all of us. So what do you do? It normally actually happens when you go to someone's house and you walk in, they're like, hey, the bartender's here. You're like, no, I'm actually just here to enjoy the party with you. Well, the kitchen's over there and all the spirits are here. What shall I make? And you've got to improvise with the tools that they have in their kitchen, which is sometimes a bit random. But
Quickfire challenge.
exactly, it's quite a challenge. But thank you for that. That was good. Yeah. It's my turn to read my letter. Yay! I've actually had the opportunity to read a letter to a young bartender. But before I do, I just want to see a show of hands. How many people in the room have ever bartended? Wow! I expected more. No, joke. How many people have been bartending for under 2 years? Amazing. This letter is going to be all for you, just so you know. One thing I must say, though, it's great to see a lot of women in front of me. Thank you. It's really good. There used to be a time when you'd walk into a bar and it was all male staff, and yeah, not good, not good. Now, ladies are coming in, helping shape what's happening in the industry. Thank you very much, Julie, for helping lead that charge as well. Yeah, got a lot to offer. Yeah, so I'll clap again because I like to celebrate. Oh, I see my friend is stretching over there. Okay, fine. Can everyone stand up, please? Everyone stand up. Everyone in the room, stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Okay. Now, just reach up in the air and just stretch it out. Stretch it out. Okay, right. That's it. Yeah, now you do your chicken. You're stretching it. Brilliant. Okay, you can all sit back down. That feels better, right? I know what it's like in the afternoon at Tell's. One too many cocktails, belly full of food, more cocktails in front of you, and it starts getting a little bit drowsy. All right. My letter is based on a conversation I actually had with a young bartender, Paige, who I met in Atlanta. She was looking for some kind of direction. And thank you very much for introducing me to her. Scott, thank you for introducing me to Paige. She had reached a point in her career. She'd been bartending for a couple of years. And, you know, she had started from the bottom. And she wanted to know what would be her next steps. And there was one piece of advice that I gave to her. I said to her to specialize. Yeah? The reason why I said to her to specialize is because we're here at Tales of the Cocktail, and if you look around the room, if you look around at all the seminars that we have going on, you'll notice that there's one kind of common thread. Every single one of them is quite specialist. Correct? Yeah? Okay, so I'm going to read the letter to you verbatim, and we can talk about it in a moment. The seminars that, at the moment, if you actually looked at them, you wouldn't know what they meant. Raising the bar being one, Behold a Trojan Horse being another. Well, Behold a Trojan Horse, you definitely would not know what that was. But Raising the Bar is definitely one that you would. The Art of the Drinks Trolley, and there's loads more that, you know, the titles are kind of obscure. And as a young bartender, it's quite hard. That's why to discern which seminar to attend. That's why I'm so happy that ours says Letters to a Young Bartender, and it makes it very easy. It says what it is on the tin. It's a letter to a young bartender. You know what this is. Someone's going to tell me something that I'm going to get inspired by and take away and enjoy. But, dear bartender, before we discuss a lot more of your journey, let's take a little step backwards. From when you first started, when you were starstruck, dazed and confused, you're bombarded with a lot of information It's true. There's a lot of information out there, yeah? Be it brands, you agree? Be it brands, be it people, be it what people write about, blogs. There's so many blogs out there. You're like, hang on a minute, what's true and what's not? You've got to do a hell of a lot. I know you agree with me. You're going to do a lot of research. You've got to literally do it for yourself, DIY. You know, you've got to do it for yourself. You've got to really research and find out what is right and what is the truth and what is not. Much like a hopeful fraternity pledge, you likely did a whole lot of grunt work during your time as a junior in the ranks. You cleaned toilets that were not your own. All right, I did it. I'd never forget the first time when I was in Greece. I was, of course, posing as if I owned the bar, speaking to that gorgeous young lady that I'd had my eye on. Yeah, she was foxy. And the bar manager walks up to me with a mop and bucket and says, "Oh, Colin, someone's been sick in the toilets. Please go and clean it." Hey, you know what? I took it on the chin. I excused myself sheepishly with my yellow mop and bucket, went and cleaned out the toilet. Yeah, of course, I didn't see her again. But you also spent a lot of time juicing, a lot of time, of course, stocking the bar again and again and again, polishing glasses again and again and again. You always did a lot of things monotonously, but you always did it eagerly because you wanted to please all those demigods who you're working with, who, of course, were serving all those starry-eyed guests that you would one day serve. I always used to think, when is it going to be my turn? I did all my homework. I did everything. I read everything related to cocktail books. At the time, everything that I could read was actually, I think was it Drink Boy? Was that Robert Hess's? Yeah, it was just Drink Boy. That was the only thing that was out at the time. Online, you had that dial-up noise every time you went on the computer. Yeah. And the little green dots. But I read everything I could. I followed my peers around as much as I could. I visited every single bar. It was actually great training for my liver. I visited every bar to learn what other bartenders were doing, read cocktail menus, tasted and sampled drinks. But most of all, what I did was I spent a lot of time watching how the bartenders worked and studying the art of hospitality. That's what I did. Bartending is one of the few crafts today that you can say, in the words of Drake, you started from the bottom, now you're here. Can I hear that? Can I hear that? Come on, Lowell, you know you want to shout that out. Yeah, it's one of the few crafts. You start from the bottom and you can have an amazing meteoric rise to the top. With a specialized focus, you can definitely become something quite special. If we take, for example, all the nominees for all the Spirited Awards at the moment, the best brands, the best bars and restaurants, the best bartenders, the best writers, all of them, there's a common thread in that. They all specialized in something. They understood and found the element of what they were doing, and they put their all into it. So, I mean, I hope for all of you that one day you can all wake up and, in the words of Biggie, look back and think, it was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Or Imbibe magazine, actually, but it's all good. Help yourself to stand out from the crowd. That is definitely something that I've always said to everyone that I've met. It's funny, if you're someone from outside the industry looking in, you may think we're a bunch of pedantic lunatics, because if you look at some of the really intricate seminars that we have, like the psychology of the shake. What? In God We Trust, the bartender's choice. Okay. Westward goes the jug of the empire. What the hell is that? Now, from the outside looking in, you just think that we're a bunch of lunatics, but no. I say it's because we view the industry from a position of love and passion. And so all that specialism allows is for all of us to continuously grow. Would everyone agree? Yeah? Dedicating, that wasn't enthusiastic enough. Does everyone agree? Dedicating yourself to something is what will put you on the map and set you apart from everybody. In the words of my father, find something that you love doing and everything else will be easy. He said that to me years ago. He didn't realize I was going to turn around and say I'll be a bartender. Wow, that was a painful conversation. So I'll leave you with this pledge. I want everyone to put their hands on their heart and raise their hand. Put your hands on your heart and raise your hands, please. From this moment forward, say it. I will strive to find my speciality. Now, go ahead, get involved, and find your speciality, guys. Cheers. Get involved. But without further ado, I want to introduce you to a man who I met a few years ago. Oh, God, it was...
Many years.
Yeah, we're not going to go there. And I was extremely impressed at the diligence of his operation. I visited his bar, and you didn't know it at the time. There were a couple of people, you didn't know it at the time. There were a couple of people there who were extremely pedantic and picky. I think there was 8 people in our party. We sat down and all ordered 8 different cocktails. And you know what it's like when you're all trying each other's cocktails and everyone's trying to find which one they like the most. We liked all of them. And I just love the specialized way that he makes his drinks. He continuously strives to excel at everything he does in his bar, and his team reflects that as well. Thank you, Jackson. Please, get involved, sir.
You know that I didn't make any of those 8 drinks, right?
Yeah.
I didn't make any of them. Colin shared a story with me early today that I couldn't stop thinking about during his letter. He's having quite a year, and one of the things he did to kick it off was, what do you call that? He parachuted out of a perfectly good airplane. Yeah, skydiving, right? So, and I just would say, we left the meeting this morning committed to jumping out of the plane, as it were. So,
I'm glad I left before that happened.
well, you had 3 places to be at the same time, Julie, which is awesome. There's a book by a sports guy named Bill Simmons called The Great Book on Basketball. And the device that he uses to set up the book is he hears Isaiah Thomas after a team that was less talented than the one it was going up against, winning the NBA championship. He hears him in an interview say something about the secret, and the interviewer misses it, just blows right by it. It's just got their own quick-minute agenda. And so he's dying to get him again and interview him. And of course, about a week before he runs into him in a pool in Las Vegas, he writes how he's destroying basketball. First the Pistons, I guess, or second the Pistons. First the Canadian basketball. He just writes this terrible column about him. So he's like, oh my God, this is my chance to ask him about the secret, but I just published this awful piece about him. So anyway, the long and short of it in this book is that the secret of basketball has nothing to do with basketball. And I would say that the secret of bartending or being successful in hospitality may not be what you think. When we set about mentoring, we are in the business of kind of giving you some information that could help you along your journey. But we're also engaged in something that's not bad, but it's got some narcissism to it. An essential part of the human condition from generation to generation. We're really trying to tell that younger self. That guy up there. I'm trying to tell him what I wish I knew, what I know now. So anyway, put together my letter based on basically trying to reach out to that person. I share it with you in the hope that you'll take something from it. This over here. Dear Jackson, pick your destination. Think carefully about what you really want. Look at your shoes. First step, get new shoes. You will not have to map your route to your destination. You will be guided. All the people you work with from now on will be your guide to the destination you have chosen. If you are clear about what you want, are truthful when people ask you what you want, and make yourself humble and available to guidance, you will reach that destination. If you choose local sports bar owner, you will be guided there. If you choose celebrity bartender on a reality show, you will be guided there. Some of your guides will explicitly help you and say, your next step is to put this glass in this spot. Some will be less obvious and say, I'm not sure this is a great fit. Some will shrug and their disinterest will help you. Some guides will be an outright warning sign. All of them are a guide, and none of them know how to get where you want to go. Your destination is yours alone. They may have some idea of how they themselves can get where you'd like to go, but their path and yours are not the same thing. Your first job is to observe. Watch the way the other kid in black puts away the glassware. Watch the way she puts away the beer. Watch the way your boss looks at the beer when she's done. Turn on all your sensors. Observe with all your senses. Watch the way the bartender holds their hands when nothing is going on. Watch the way she dries his hands. Watch the way the boss looks at him when he's working. Notice how you feel when you observe that. Your second job is to do. Jump in, ask questions, get your feet wet, get your hands dirty. No matter what you are told, do it. When you have to do it a second time, do it faster. When you have to do it a third time, do it faster and cleaner. Get on your belly and clean something. Find a ladder, get up there and clean that, faster. Catch your boss watching you. Notice how you feel. Your third job is to get watched, all of the time. Feel the eyes of your peers upon you. Sometimes you will feel their envy. Sometimes they will cringe. Sometimes they will look odd. Sometimes they will laugh. Ask for feedback. Ask how they would do it if they were you. Feel the eyes of guests on you. Begin to notice that you are on a stage. Try moving more artfully, knowing that you are being watched. Fourth, expose yourself. Go places, taste things, see the outside, look inside. Notice, notice, notice. Remark, take risks, enter contests. Develop a menu of drinks you love and make those cosmos. Make a menu that sells itself and notice how you feel. Pour your soul into a project and feel the boots trample on it. Get up, pour your soul into a project and feel rewarded. Develop a character that speaks for your projects. Develop a voice. Speak, recite, write, repeat. In a mirror, on a table, in a text, on your grocery list, in your pillow, to your friends, to your mother, to a stranger. Say, write, repeat every single drink recipe you ever see, every single drink recipe you ever hear, every single drink recipe, period. Spend a paycheck, get the booze, have a party, make, say, make again, over and over. When you reach a recipe, instead of thinking about one, then you're starting to get it. Speak up, ask if you can help, ask if you can run the drinks for a busy server, ask if you can show the new kid how to juice, ask if you can pull the tickets off a colleague's printer, ask if you can make a few tickets, ask if you can taste their contest entry, and ask them to taste yours. Ask if you can do the money, ask if they will check your work, ask if you can do the inventory, ask to look at the invoices when the fruit comes in, ask to look at the liquor invoices, ask if you can close for a sick colleague, ask if you can close for a burnt-out manager. Look over the bar top. Look at the women ordering. What do their faces do when they drink what you made? Do their eyebrows go up and away or down and together? Look at the men. They are better trained not to react. Look back at the women. Look at the entire bar from 6 paces. Go straighten your bottles. Wipe down the sticky ones. Watch the fingers of a man on his first date. Offer food if his hands are too frantic. Listen to the bartender ask an older man how he likes his martini. Listen to the hungover barback polish with a cloth that's too dry and isn't working. Listen to the dishwasher and learn what broken glass sounds like. Our senses are sight, sound, smell, touch, taste, and intuition. Get a nice apartment, nice for sleeping. Get a place where you can sit outside within 10 minutes walk, just a bench where you can sit and wonder what's next. Fall in love, sleep with a few people. Don't give it away. Live with someone. Your time will be ever more precious. Don't fuck everyone.
Just that good.
Your mate is likely to be near you. You might know her as the new server. He might be your boss. She might be a valet. He might be in the kitchen. Anyone can do intimacy when they're drunk, and everyone will connect over the shared hardships of this business. Your mate is the one you can talk to about your sister when you're picking mint for the offsite. Your mate knows how you take your coffee the second time and never forgets. Your mate has impressive flaws that you see the day you meet them and are not cute now. Your mate is a human that you respect. They can list your flaws. They are not delusional about them. That thing you do is not cute. Your mate is curious to discover who you are going to be. You are dying to know how their story turns out and hope that you're in it the whole time. Whether it's kids or animals or plants, get something living and care for it. Be reliable. Pay your rent on time. Get your oil change. Pay your taxes. When you find a home, put down roots. Take your time, don't settle, but settle eventually. Have a local. Know your neighbors. Bring the garbage cans in. Pick up litter. Say hi to kids. Watch the news. Know who's on the ballot. Vote. Watch your community change. Engage with people who are trying to change it for the better. Take a Saturday off to clean a park. Host a fundraiser. Be known. Play. Tell jokes. Pick up an instrument. Find your perfect ball. Golf, tennis, soccer, foot, basket. Be a fan of a team. Root for someone. Dance. Sing. Ice someone. Prank. Punk. And look silly for the laugh. Remember, you are not the drinks you make. You are not the glasses you polish. You are not the people you train or the bars you build. You are not the children you create. You are not the failures you suffer. You are not the awards you don't receive and deserve, and you are not your undeserved kudos. You are who you are and what you believe. And if you're a bartender, you will know it, and so will the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Wow. Jackson. There was a whole lot of watching going on. It's a little bit creepy.
Nice hands.
Yeah. Nice hands. Yeah. Does anyone know actually Jackson really does have something about hands?
Oh my God.
How did that start?
Not mine, other people's.
How does it? I mean, Derek, how does
really
it?
want to go there now?
Yeah, I would love to know because you love to observe. You love.
Go ahead, Derek.
Yeah, please, Derek, go ahead.
I'm not talking about the fetish of hands.
No, Derek. Sorry, actually, yeah, Derek, you like watching as well. They both like watching people's hands as they're working, just in movement, which, you know, attention to detail is definitely one thing, but that might be a little bit on the border of creepy. It's all good. But thank you very much.
Go to jacksonhands.com.
Jacksonhands.com, yeah, please look at that. But thank you very much indeed. That was really, really inspiring, Jackson. That was great. And I love that piece as well about write down every single cocktail recipe you hear, read, and it's amazing. I think you're the only man that has ever, that I know anyway, that ever tried to make a recipe for an oily ombre because you couldn't get it. Well done. I tried making it as well, but you know, you can get a bottle now. But well done, great. Right, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Mr. Josh Wagner. Yes. Mr. Hospitality. his cocktail, he'll tell you about in a moment.
Are we starting with that? First of all, I'm fucked. Jesus Christ.
You went after Jackson.
Like, thanks, Colin. I'm after Jackson Cannon. And I've had the privilege to visit his establishments, and I can tell you that it's not his attention to detail that is only it. It's his attention to feeling that makes his places so wonderful. And I think that you will see a commonality amongst all of us up here. It's not just execution of a task. It's an execution of an emotion that we try to evoke. So Jackson just made me shed a tear listening to him, and I had to stand up and I had to applaud him, just like all of us should, for everything that he does, and what she does, and what he does, and what he does, and what all of us should try to do every single day. So that was fucking awesome. That was fucking awesome. You just make me want to get involved every day, so you're awesome. And I am going to set you up for success because I will probably bomb this right now. My drink is hopefully coming out the door shortly. My drink is a shot and a beer. The reason being, young bartenders, or most of us who here are not that young, but that means we can always still learn, because we will learn till the day that we die, is that after 3 or 4 cocktails, your palate is shot, and who gives a fuck, and get back to the basics and have a shot and a beer. You will be having a Reposado tequila shot and a cheap American beer, and you will be enjoying yourself, and stop critiquing shit. Sit back, relax, enjoy, and listen to my speech that I will read monologue style, as Colin has said, and hopefully be worthy of the people that I am sharing a stage with right now. Can I have a shot? Thanks, man. Can I get a beer? Awesome. I cheers you all. Thank you for your ears in the next couple of minutes. My letter is titled, It's Not a Job, It's a Lifestyle. Okay, young buck, because your attention span is about as short as the memory of a goldfish, and you won't be able to go the next couple minutes without picking up your phone to check something on social media. I will keep this simple and easy. One-liners, short, straight to the point facts, hopefully some things you will actually retain and refer to in your evolution. If not, who cares, right? It's just my opinion, and at the end of the day, who the fuck am I? It's not a job, it's a lifestyle. Let's make this abundantly clear from the get-go. This will become your entire life, and this lifestyle is not for everyone. Start healthy habits right now. Great to be young and filled with piss and vinegar and feel invincible, but this shit will straight fuck you up. Horizontal leads to vertical. You want to start at the bottom, relish in it, master every task, creating a strong core, and it will help you naturally rise. Vacation time, family time, personal time, gone. But trust me, put in the work, and that sacrifice will pay off tenfold. I did not have my first vacation for 5 years. Literally 5 years, did not have a day off. If you think there are 5 days in a work week, you are cruelly mistaken. If you think there are 60 hours in a work week, exit the back door quietly. If you think there are 70 hours in a work week, walk away. And if you think that a 90-hour work week is something that is not possible, run out of the door. Most important part about this, if you think you're going to get a pat in the back for all that hard work, you're cruelly mistaken. This is something you will earn over time. And when I say time, I don't mean the instant gratification of the social media tech-driven world today, where every action is prompted by recognition and reaction, this is an amount of time that you need and want to be slow and long. It will make you better. In this business, you have to have very thick skin and a short memory. Your friends, you don't even have this remotely figured out. Your friends and your family who don't work in the industry will truly never understand what you do. That's an important thing to know. You cannot justify it. Work in as many different environments as possible. Craft, high volume, big, small. You have the time to learn now. Take advantage of this. It is important not to pigeonhole yourself. Experience all. You will be wiser because of it. Regardless of what you think, the world will continue to revolve without you. You are expendable. Don't, yeah. Sure. Don't be a dick. It's so much easier to be nice to people. Take your product seriously, but not yourself too seriously. Never yuck anyone else's yums. Don't steal. It will haunt you forever. If you're scared to get your hands dirty, you simply don't belong here. And when I always say dirty, use your imagination and then realize the nastiest thing you thought of was not even remotely close enough. Colin told you about cleaning up shit in a Greek toilet, which is probably, you know? I mean, going Greek means something special right now every time I see Colin. Let's keep talking about shit. Don't shit where you eat, right? You will hear this a million times for a reason, and there's a really good fucking reason for it, right? When you get to the place where you're managing people, I've done this, and it was a bad choice. Do not poke the payroll, okay? Don't do it. Do I know somebody in here? If we work together?
Some of them aren't poking.
Don't receive the, I can't think of a good rhyme right now, sorry.
Can we consult legal? Can we consult legal on the proper way to refer to this topic?
Don't rub the numbers. This is incredibly important. You never know who someone is. Treat all with respect. I say it again. You never know who somebody is. Treat every person with respect. Be proud of everything you do. When you finish a task, simply ask yourself, are you proud of it? If not, go back and make it so. Go to as many training and educational seminars as possible. Study and read. I promise you, you will hear a ton of repetition. But if you get one snidbit that you've never heard before, it will make you better. The best in the biz and the wisest get the most excited when they have the opportunity to learn something new. Learn as much as you can so you can experience that wonderful feeling. Always be gracious. You will most likely get fired or laid off, let go one day. People will remember you for your reaction. Step away, evaluate, don't be impulsive. Don't intimidate or belittle people because they don't have the same knowledge that you do. Take the time to show or teach them or realize they quite frankly don't give a fuck about the things you think are important. Your job is to make people happy, not to school them unless they want it or ask for it. Right? This is a big thing for this week especially. Small, batch, boutique, and local does not automatically mean that something is good, okay? And to counter that, large, corporate, and the man does not mean it is bad, okay? Everybody that is big started here, and they went to something. They didn't lose their integrity. Remember that. Don't shit on the man, right? They may pay for your flight. This is not in my speech. They may pay for your flight. They may get you a hotel room, and you may think you're using them. Appreciate it, understand it, know its history, do the research. It's very fucking important. Everyone deserves a second chance. People can change. I know so many bartenders and people in the hospitality industry that are assholes. I wish I knew less. You are in the business to serve and meet strangers every day. Don't do this for just your peers. You will lose sight of the prize, you will get grumpy, you will get impatient, and you will lose the passion you need to be good in this world. Work your ass off. The right people will notice. Treat your job as if you actually own the business. Don't be the brown nose. Nobody likes a brown nose. Don't interrupt, listen. Surround yourself with people that inspire you. Surround yourself with people that you respect. Start saving some money now and make it a routine in your life. It will change your life. Do not rush. Don't try to jump a rung on the ladder, and don't try to cut any corner. Always ask questions. Do not guess. Ask for help when you need it. Better to do it right than half-ass and go back and fix it. Plus, you will learn from it. You always get 100% of what you do not ask for. Okay? It is also remarkable to think of the fact how little others think about you. Meaning, in this world, you think of your superiors countless times more than they think of you. Do you want to know why? Because they're busy with shit that you don't even know about yet, right? Be the first person to introduce yourself. You'll be more memorable, and simply because it is the polite thing to do. You need to have multiple mentors. Please, please, please make sure that all of your friends do not just work in this industry. We are critical, discerning assholes. And when we roam in packs, we lose perspective that there is more in life than just the hospitality industry. Plus the fact your mother will be happier you're drinking and cursing less. Remove yourself emotionally and physically from your person. Look at your life as if it was from a movie screen. How would it make you feel? And if you think that you're always a rock star, you didn't hear a word that I just said. Do not burn bridges. This world is a very small place, and you will cross paths again and again and again. On the contrary, be a bridge builder. Where there's a problem that you may pass once, build a bridge behind so that another may follow and have an easier path. Confidence is a wonderful thing, but delivering it with humility is far more powerful. People will judge you on appearance, lore, rumor, and the story of your exes. Don't be the ass to do the same. Give people a chance. You'll be incredibly surprised. Be chivalrous or ladylike. Don't live on social media. Use it as a tool, not a personal outlet to vent. You will regret things that you will share with the world that will never be able to be retracted. Be early.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I live in Miami. That says a lot, right? Welcome making mistakes. Learn from them, and then, quite simply, move on. Simple is good. All great products can be summarized in less than 3 sentences. Success is in the details, and so is the devil. Be happy, or take the time to know why you are not. Own up to your mistakes, clean as you go. Thank you, sir. Personal hygiene really is that important. Gentlemen, the nails, not just for work, but the ladies really do notice, right? Yes. You look at our nails. We gotta have clean hands because we want to put them in places. Do not be known as the guy or gal that does a lot of drugs. You will never shake that one. Do not master the Houdini or the Irish exit. It's not worth being the guy or gal that everyone has a story about that you have zero recollection of. It is not a good look. Do not share everything you are doing. It is wonderful to surprise people. Always have a personal project that you are the only one that is fully aware of it. Express gratitude. Pleases and thank yous go a very long way. Follow up in a timely fashion. If you don't, it will just disappear in the pile. Writing a handwritten letter and sending it in the mail is always special to receive. Make sure your passport is always valid. This, I say to myself, I try to. Listen to your own advice, especially the parts you give so well, but you don't actually live. Life, I said this the other day when I had a great meal with my friend Colin. Life is made up of memories, positive, negative ones. That is a simple fact. We are in the business of making memories. Go into work every day and make positive memories for others, and do the same outside of work. I'll be your first cheer of the day. In the words of my father, just as Colin paid homage to his, DPJ, don't postpone joy. Meaning, identify what joy is for you and don't postpone your effort to get there. With 34 years of experience and a long way to go, humbly, Joshua Wagner.
Wow. Thank you very much indeed for that, Joshua. Thank you. That was awesome. There was a lot to take away from that, right, guys and girls? Yeah? There was. There's a lot. There's something that, there's a lot of things that struck me in your letter, but one of them was definitely not to just do this for your peers. Yeah? We're in the hospitality industry. We should do everything, what we do for everybody, correct? Yeah? Yeah. We're hosts. We're everything. But just before the dame, Julie, gets up, I need everyone to just stand up again. Sorry, guys. Stand up, stand up. Stand up. I know. Jesus, God, do we have to? All right, you ready? And again, Colin says, stretch. I wish someone would do this in every seminar. It's great. Okay, that's so much better. It wakens you up a little bit. That's a great stretch, actually. All right, thank you so much for humoring me. It does wake you up because I really think it's important for all of you to pay attention to what Julie has to say. It's absolutely amazing. I love her. I absolutely love her letter. And you know, Julie, of course, has been through almost every single role that there is in this business, and I think it's a great letter to finish off on in these series of letters, because as Jackson pointed out, there's an overarching theme in our letters today. You started at the bottom, you worked your way through to the industry, and Julie's is about opening a bar. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Julie, sorry, I'm laying it right up for you, baby. Get involved. And of course, we're having a Clover Club.
Yeah. Hi there. So my letter is called "So You Want to Open a Bar," and you know, over the years, I've had many of bartenders come through my doors, and you know, they get to a point and they're like, "I'm going to open my own bar." And I remember this picture is in a bar where I was like, "I'm going to open my own bar," and. Boy, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I figured it out, but you know, I really wish somebody had read this to me that day. So here we go. Dear young bartender, so you want to open your own bar? Well, isn't that cute? You want to take your curly mustache and your tight pants, your Portland Cocktail Week tattoo and your bitters collection, and make the neighborhood of your choice the place to be. Great idea. The world has been waiting for this decision. But before you take your talents to Negroni Town, I thought I'd share with you a few things you should truly understand before you embark on the journey of running your own joint. There are a few things you should be ready to say goodbye to, and a few new pals to say hello to. Say goodbye to days off. A new 237-hour work week awaits you, and you'll probably still be a few hours short. But don't be sad, because you can say hello to days off's wacky stepsister, nap on your desk by accident while you were on hold with the air conditioner repairman. And though days off were fun, they will soon be replaced by 5 fucking quiet minutes alone in the liquor room. Enjoy them. Say goodbye to your ego. Say hello to the things that happen in your women's bathroom. Your ego will be gone once you realize there's no one you can ask to take care of what happened there tonight. Bring a snorkel. Say goodbye to cash at the end of the night. You're no longer in the tip pool, and you get paid after everybody else. But say hello to taking cash out of your own pocket to pay the linen bill, the sales tax, and the COD on your first 6 months of liquor bills. Say goodbye to your vagina, or your girlfriend's vagina, or the vagina of the gorgeous, slightly drunk ladies at the bar. There's no time for yours or hers, and your customers are off limits. Say hello to the things that are better than the sex you have no time for, like, this coffee is better than sex. That nap was better than sex. Or my personal favorite, finding the perfect bar back is so much better than sex. You'll come up for air about a year later. Other nifty things you should say hello to. Say hello to being on call all the time. Might want to get one of those portable chargers for your phone. Say hello to problem solving. All those problems are yours now. And you get to see how much accountability your newly minted staff has accepted when you answer questions like, is there an on switch for the lights in the DJ booth? Do we have any more napkins? What do we do when the lemons run out? Say hello to numbers, hello percentages, hello finance reports, hello payroll, hello liability insurance, hello neighborhood association meetings. Hello to the jackass landlord who saw a segment on the Today Show and now wants to talk to you about seasonal cocktails when you're 20 minutes late for a meeting across town with your attorney. So you can see, my young friend, This is a hard road you've set out for yourself. I tell you these things not to discourage you, but to keep you appraised of what you're getting yourself into. You won't be making most of the drinks now, and since that's the skill that got most of us thinking about opening a bar in the first place, I want you to ask yourself a few questions before you finalize your decision. Have you ever managed a busy cocktail bar? Have you ever managed anything? Told people what to do? Told them when they need to be where and what they need to do when they get there? Are you a leader? Can you be? Are you sure? Have you ever hosted, waited tables, acted as a bouncer, plunged a toilet, fixed a sound system on the fly, navigated a POS system that keeps going down on weekend nights? Yeah, I've had that fun one. Yeah, we were Verizon shut down for, 8 days. Awesome. Do you have a partner who does the things that you can't? Can you write a business plan and be part of formulating a financial forecast? Do you have any experience navigating city agencies? DOB, SLA, and DOH are a nightmare. Become familiar with them. Everything you heard is true, and they will make you regret your venture every single fucking day. Have you been in charge of hiring staff? What sort of training program will you have? Do you have a lawyer? Do you have a good lawyer? Do you have an extra 30 grand in contingency to pay for your lawyer and the billable hours you did not know you were racking up? What's a P&L? Can you read one? Will your bar have food? Do you have any experience running a kitchen? Do you know how to do food costs? Do you know that no one makes money on food ever? How will you finance your bar? Do you have a contract? Is it a good one? Why do you have all of the talent and the name, and yet you only have 10%? Do you have that shitty 10% protected in writing? If you really want to open your own bar, you need to think about all of these things. I've seen too many young bartenders believe their own hype and get screwed royally going through this process. Just because you have 4,000 followers on Twitter and 350 people liked your post on Facebook about opening your own bar does not mean that you are equipped to do so. Do yourself a favor and do every job in the bar before you try to run your own. Take a business course, take a communications course, learn about how to do financials and projections. We all know restaurants and bars have a very high failure rate, but we all seem to forget that when it's our place we're thinking about. Go into it well-informed and with as much experience as you can get. Put down the shaker for a minute and learn about the not-so-glamorous part of running a bar. Those are the ones that will keep you in business. The rest will take care of itself. Well, you'll be the one making sure it takes care of itself. Good luck.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Julie, why did you not tell me this years ago when I first opened a bar? Yeah, I went through all of those problems. I thought, yeah, I've got this down. And yeah, I did get that 10% and got royally rogered out. But such is life, these things happen and you learn. And hopefully some of the things that you've learned today will help you in your journey. Avoid some of the pitfalls, make correct decisions. And of course, all of you in front of us today are the future generation of the industry, and we all need you to excel and be the best of what you are. Yeah? That's why we all came here today, to share some of our insight of this industry to you. You know, I started as a barback. I never realized that one day I could stand up here in front of all of you at Tales and tell you my story, and I'm sure none of you did as well when you started. Yeah? But what I'm going to do now is I need a mic. Actually, Derek is going to walk around the floor, and if anyone has any questions, thanks, Derek. Cheers, man. If anyone has any questions, please speak into the mic, and of course, the illustrious panel here will try and answer.
To speak into this?
Yeah, perfect.
Anthony DeCirio, Connecticut, USBG president.
Yeah. Nice. Thank you for coming, sir.
Thank you, all of you, today for the cocktails, information, everything. Just big round of applause for the panel here tonight. I've been behind the stick for 18 years. Don't worry, I'm 42. So my question is, when you're talking to the young bartenders, or in the aspect of young bartenders, I've managed 6 different bars over the years, and I'm always being inundated with new staff, people that want to come in and I want to be a bartender. A question for all of you is, how do you choose who you're going to bring on to your teams based on someone who wants to be, I want to be a bartender? So
Okay.
with that respect and your advice to the young bartenders, the ones coming on board, what is the key that brings you to accept onto your team who it's going to be that's going to follow your lead and make your craft cocktail bar the best no matter where you are?
Okay, who wants to answer? Julie?
Well,
Okay.
I can comment on that. I mean, for me, when I hire people, and I've gotten better at it over the years, of knowing, just being able to pick people. It really is a skill, hiring. But I, first and foremost, look for people who I like before they even open their mouth. So as they're walking and approaching me, it's, do they have a warm likability factor? Because that is really, this is the hospitality business, and that's really the first thing that people get from you is you approach them at the bar, you approach them at the table, and then they speak. But if they approach you and you're like, there's a positive feeling, that's who you want on your team. So that's really, as far as hiring goes. I'm wary about hiring people who sit down with me immediately and say, I know I'm applying for the barback job, but I really want to bartend, I mean, I let them know, I'm like, here's the thing, you're going to work here for at a minimum of a year before that ever happens. So, I don't want to hear it 6 months from now that you want to bartend, because there's a lot that you need to learn to get there. And I have passed on people who've been too eager about that.
Excellent. I actually remember a guy who started working with me. He applied for the position as a barback. He started on the bar. The kid was amazing. And a month or so into him working with me, I turned around and I thought to myself, hang on a minute, this is weird. We literally turn around and that bottle's there. You literally turn around and that glass is ready. I said, that's an amazing barback. I mean, I find it really hard to find, really good barbacks. And I said to him, have you ever bartended before? He said, yeah, I've been bartending for the last 5 years. I said, why did you apply for the job as a barback? He said, you would never have hired me as a bartender. So, hey, word to the wise, if you want to get into a place that you've always wanted to work in, start off as a barback. Start at the bottom and earn your stripes and rise through the ranks. Because when you can show people what you're capable of, they'll respect that and they'll see that within you. And they'll promote you and work with you. Yeah? Okay. Does that help answer your question? Yeah? Thank you. Another question? Please, go ahead. Hi, what's your name? Where are you from?
Hi, Allie from Washington, D.C.
Allie.
So, I guess I'm a little bit of a different person here. My day job is a lawyer, but I bartended in law school, and I miss it. But I do have a lot of friends that still bartend, but one of the things that I think that they wonder about is how do they go from the club kind of fast-paced, high-volume bartending and getting into craft cocktailing? You know, is it, you know, what should they do if that is something that they truly aspire to do and kind of get out of the, I don't know if it's, maybe it's typical in DC, but the club bartending, you know, kind of just, you know, make a bunch of incredible, and it's kind of, I'm dating myself, but, you know, a bunch of incredible Hulks at the same time, you know, but getting more into the craft cocktailing, how would you all maybe suggest that one do that?
And does anybody
Joshua
here know
Wagner.
how to make an Incredible Hulk? All right, good.
Joshua Wagner.
Must have
Please,
worked in
Joshua,
DC.
take this.
Yeah, so my goal in life is that I can hop on a plane and fly through Louisville, Charlotte, Omaha. I can go to a bar in the airport and I can order a Negroni and you can ask me what is your sweet vermouth or gin of preference, right? So for me, I think you're going to see a great evolution of the club bartender who makes a ton of cash that will say, hey, to go do craft, accountability is everything today, right? You can't walk into her bar, his bar, without actually being able to answer questions and know what the hell you have to do. It's a matter of more that bartender knowing what makes them comfortable and the environment they want to work in, the hours they want to have, the cash they want to make. It is, if you want to go to craft should be in a nightclub. Craft should be everywhere. I don't hire mixologists, okay? I hire bartenders. If you call yourself a mixologist in an interview with me, you're not getting hired, okay? That's it. Ever. You're a bartender. At the end of the day, we wrote a letter to a bartender, not to a mixologist, not to a craft specialist, anything. So I wanted to chime in earlier. Bartending is a great thing. It's a great thing. It's not more than that. A chef does not present you a meal and say, I'm a remarkable chef. No, I'm a chef. I cook food. What do? You make drinks. So that person that wants to go needs to understand the culture, the environment they want to go into, the hours that will change, the people they will work with, and they may change their decisions, you know? So there's nothing wrong with high volume. There's nothing wrong with making money, right? We want to make money. We want to be healthy in our environment. So yes, if I can go to the airport and order a Negroni in Omaha, Nebraska, and have a great one, I'm a happy man. And if I can go to a nightclub that does $58 million a year and order a Negroni and have a great one, I'm a happy man, right?
Okay, unfortunately, or fortunately for some, oh, okay, you've had your hand up for a while.
I feel like this is a question that nobody wants to ask. But over the years, you have those customers that are assholes.
Oh, that happens all the time. Yeah.
Oh, that's so true.
All the time, and how being in the industry for such a long time from the experts, how do you deal with that, and how do you deal with the stress of getting burnt out? Because it's a cyclical thing. You get burnt out. No matter where you go, you're burnt out. But how do you deal with that?
I got it. I
All
got
right,
you.
Jackson.
I hear what you're saying. One of the great things about this business is it requires you to kind of get over a lot of the emotions created with these social encounters. I mean, if you're called to do this, and most of us are, that's why we're here, it's not, you come from some emotional place into it. And when somebody challenges you in one way or another and you react, you've already missed the opportunity to go a little further in service. And you regroup after that and you think about it. Sometimes you tap out to somebody else who takes that encounter and you all talk about it. But every day you come back for more because you're a better person the less you feel about somebody else's problem and the more you just serve them right through it.
sorry. Josh has something to say. One second. Josh.
My letter was, it's your life. It's not a job, it's your lifestyle. You work to make it your life, right? So, meaning you put it in first, and then all of us will tell you we've earned the place of having our life first and not having shit like that affect us anymore, you know? So you realize that you can't take it that seriously. So you gotta grind with it and accept it, but realize that it's not that important. Your life is the most important thing first, right? So you can't let that affect you. Okay?
Yeah. I'd love to answer that question as well, and also tell you a little bit about how I feel about Yelp. So, but maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that after hours because I think they're wrapping everything up. I wanted to take a second to thank Colin for inviting us all here.
Hashtag get involved.
And all my fellow panelists for doing an amazing job.
Yes.
Very inspiring. To the people who made our drinks today, thank you very much to all the taps.
Yeah.
Bacardi as a sponsor, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And to all of you, thank you so much for coming and listening to us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you all so much for coming.